My parents took away my college fund at the dinner table for my sister and told me that I needed to learn how to earn things myself. I simply said, okay, and quietly went upstairs. But a few minutes later, the news that came through my phone revealed a secret that made everyone downstairs start shouting my name. You need to learn to earn things yourself. My father said those words at the dinner table while my mother quietly arranged the papers placed in front of my younger sister. Those papers were for my college fund. The same money my parents had saved for years to support my education. But that night they had decided that the money would no longer be mine. It would go to my sister. I only said, okay. I did not argue. I did not ask questions. I quietly stood up from my chair and walked upstairs to my room. My family thought I had given up. They had no idea that a few minutes later a phone call would reveal something that would change everything. My name is Emma Wilson. I was 19 years old and I lived in a small town in Ohio. I came from an ordinary family. My father, Richard Wilson, worked for a construction company. He was a strict man. He believed success came only from hard work and discipline. My mother, Linda, managed our home, but she also had a strong influence over every major family decision. My younger sister Rachel was 17 years old. She was always the center of attention in our family. Rachel was beautiful, confident, and the kind of person who could walk into any room and immediately make people like her. I was never jealous of her. She was my sister. I wanted her to succeed. But the problem was that my parents constantly compared our lives. When Rachel achieved something, the whole house celebrated. When I achieved something, the response was usually, "That's good, but you still need to do more." I never complained. I thought things would change as we got older. But some habits do not disappear with time. They only become stronger. When it was time to apply for college, I applied to several universities. My dream was to study biomedical engineering. I spent months preparing. I stayed up late studying. I applied for scholarships. But my parents always told me, "We will help you, but you also need to learn how to take responsibility for yourself." I took those words positively. I thought they were trying to make me stronger. That was why I was so happy when they created a college fund for me. The money was not enough to cover my entire education, but it was enough to make my beginning easier. I never imagined that one day they would take that money away from me. That day was a Sunday. We were all sitting together for dinner. The smell of roasted chicken filled the kitchen. The news was playing quietly on the television. Rachel was looking at something on her phone. I was reviewing my college documents. I had to make my final decisions the following week. Then my father placed his glass on the table. "Emma, we need to talk to you about something." I looked up. "What happened?" My mother looked at Rachel. Then she looked at me. "We have decided that we need to change how we use the college fund." For a moment I thought maybe there was some financial problem. I asked, "What do you mean?" My father answered directly. "Rachel wants to attend a private art program next year. The tuition is expensive." I stayed quiet. Then I said, "So?" My mother spoke softly. "We think she needs it more right now." I looked at them for a few seconds. But that fund was for my college. My father leaned back in his chair. "Emma, you're 19 years old. You can work." I looked at him. "And Rachel?" My mother immediately replied, "Rachel is still young. She needs support." I looked at my sister. She was sitting quietly. Her phone was in her hand, but she was listening to everything. I said, "So you're giving my education money to her?" My father shook his head. "That's not what we're saying. We're just looking at priorities." I gave a small smile. "Priorities." My father's voice became firmer. "Emma, everything cannot always be about you." That sentence was not new to me. I had heard it many times before. I looked down at my plate. Then I simply said, "Okay." My mother looked surprised. Maybe she expected me to fight. She asked, "That's it?" I looked at her. "You already made your decision. What am I supposed to say?" I stood up. My room was upstairs. I walked up the stairs, closed the door, and sat on my bed. For a while I just stayed there quietly. Then my phone rang. The number belonged to a company I had applied to a few weeks earlier. I answered, "Hello." A woman spoke from the other side. "Am I speaking with Emma Wilson?" "Yes. We have some great news for you. Your research project has been selected for our Youth Innovation Grant." I went silent. "What?" She repeated the information. My project had been selected. Not only would I receive financial support, but I would also get the opportunity to work with a respected university. I ended the call. And for the first time, I realized that my future was not dependent on one college fund. The truth was that my family knew very little about me. They did not know that for the past year I had been working on an affordable medical device. A device that could help with early patient screening in rural areas. At first it was only a class project. Then I decided to take it seriously. I researched. I spoke with professors. I corrected my mistakes. And now that same project was about to become something much bigger. But I never told my family. Because I already knew what would happen. Even if I succeeded, the conversation would somehow return to Rachel. Rachel got accepted. Rachel is doing this. Rachel achieved that. So I stayed quiet. The next day I did not argue with my parents. I completed my college applications. I submitted my grant documents. And I focused on my work. A few weeks later my life was going to change. But my family still believed I was the same quiet girl who had left the dinner table. They did not know there was a decision hidden behind my silence. I was no longer going to spend my life proving my worth to anyone. I was going to let my work speak for me. Thank you for staying with this story until the end. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more emotional stories about strength, family, and unexpected moments of truth, please support us by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more powerful stories to you.